Okay, I'm going to share my أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي آمين رب العالمين. Okay, that's right. I'm going to share the screen for Google Classroom. Yesterday's question was Abdullah, you did not write the answer. I didn't get the comment. Your answer, can you please post it? The question was, what is the result of testimony of the two final will witnesses? Okay. And the answer that you wrote was, it's more likely that they will give you testimony according to the objective, to its true objective. Yes, they would fear that they may that any other oath might be taken after their oaths. It's more likely that will fear Allah and listen, obey Allah, and that they would fear other oaths taken afterwards. Okay, so their oath will be more authentic. Those who have taken the oath to tell the truth. So they've actually taken the oath to tell the truth, and their testimony will be more valid. That's the main idea. So we did a Surah Maida 107, 107 or 108. Oh, I have to edit. I think this is 108, right? I forgot to change this one. 108. And now we're going to do 109. Okay, so it's going to be Surah Maida chapter 5, 109. We did 108 yesterday. That they will give testimony according to its true objective, or at least they would fear Allah. They would fear the other oath might be taken after their oath, and fear Allah and taken obeying Allah does not guide the defiant to disobedient people. So basically what it meant was that if they take the oath, right, their testimony would be more valid than the others because they have taken the oath. Okay, 109. Yes, Abdullah, you can propose. You have the answers there, so easy for you to rewrite them. Okay, and here, yes. Whose turn is it today? To read Haika? Not to read? Can you hear me, everyone?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يوم يجمع الله الرسل فيقول ماذا أجبتم قالوا لا علم لنا إنك أنت علام الغيوب.
MashaAllah, Tabarakallah. Okay, Yoma, this day, Yajma'u. Yajma'u will be gathered. Jama' means together. Yajma'u, you will be gathered, Allah by Allah, ar-Rasul. Al is the Rasul of the messengers. Fa, then, yaqulu, he will say, Maza, what? Ajibtum was the response you received. Ajibtum, tum is you, and ajibtum the response you received. Qalu, qalu, they said, La, there is no ilm, knowledge, lana, la for na, us, inna, indeed, ka, you, anta, you, allamul ghuyub, are the knower, ghuyub is the unseen. Yes, Asma, you can read the translation.
Yeah, okay. Be warned of the day when Allah will assemble the messengers and say, what was the response when you received? They will say, we have no knowledge. Indeed, it is you who is the knower of the unseen.
Yes, so they'll say they have no knowledge, Allah knows everything. Okay. Um, Abdullah, have you typed the previous comment?
No, very
Yeah, it's very simple. All you have to write is that after taking the oath, the the testimony of these what is it? Testimony of these oath takers. So you can say the testimony of the um, what is it called? Witnesses. Yeah, is more valid. That's the main idea. 109. Okay, let's see what the tafsir says here. Tafsir Ibn Kasir. Okay, the messenger will be asked about their nations. Okay, that's easy. I'm going to go back. Classwork, add, reuse, post. The correct answers are there, Abdullah, so you can just, rewrite them. 100 and a lot of questions. Okay, so 109. And the question is, if we go to Tafsir, we would see Tafsir of Ibn Kathir. The messenger will be asked about their nations. What will the messengers be asked about their nations? So 2, 3 verses, we're doing the testimony and witnesses stuff. Now it's about the what will the messengers, what will the messengers be asked about their nation. So we know the messengers are sent to a nation. Okay, there's a difference between prophet and messenger. So some were prophets and messengers. Okay, not all the prophets were messengers. So what's the difference? But all the messengers were prophets. Okay, so the first step is prophets, and prophets are those people who get prophecy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those are called prophets. So they are always on the right path and they tell others within their families. Okay, but those who of the prophets, they are sent to a nation. Okay, so those people who are sent to a nation, okay, they are those people who are sent to those prophets were sent to a nation, to reform them, which is much harder because people don't want to listen and they may say, very bad things and maybe even harm the prophets, right? Those messengers were sent to to the nation to reform. They are the messengers. So the question is, okay, the messengers will be asked about the nation. So they're answerable for their nation because they were sent to a nation, right? So that's why, for example, Prophet Sallallahu is also a prophet as well as a messenger. As Prophet Nuh alayhi salam was also a prophet as well as a messenger. So when he was angry and went away from his people because they were not listening, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made him go to the stomach of the fish. Why? Because it was his responsibility. do that, and then he asked for forgiveness, and Allah released him. So then he realized his mistake, that his duty is to go to the people and reform them. So that's a messenger. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the Quran that he was a prophet as well as a messenger, and Musa al-Islam was a messenger. So you know these prophets were messengers, that they have to reform outside their homes and go to the nations. They were sent to a nation. So, what will the messengers be asked about their nation? I'm assigning it, okay? And the answer is uh, the day when Allah will assemble the messengers, and they. So, what what else will ask the messengers? So, you see in inverted commas, that is what Allah Subhanahu wa Taala will ask. Whatever is in inverted commas. So it says, I'll show you. What will they be asked? You will say, Allah will ask the messengers, and this is the answer. Do you see the inverted commas? What was the response you received? Okay, what was the response you received? And they will say, we have no knowledge indeed, you are the all knower of the unseen. Okay. So what will Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ask the messengers? What was the response you received? So you will say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask the messengers, you know, and they would comma and inverted commas, what was the response you received? Okay, when you say what was the response you received, it's the first person statement. It means it has to be in the inverted commas. We write in the second statement of the people. But when the first statement, do you see the comma and the and the inverted commas? It's a statement. What was the response you received? And they will say, we have no knowledge. Or you can say like this, when you say we, then you have to put a comma, inverted commas. Or you can say, they will say that they had no knowledge, and that indeed Allah is the all knower of the unseen. So if you want to make it in the second person, that they instead of we. If you use we or you, then you will have to put inverted commas after the comma. First person statement. You get the answer. What will the messengers be asked by Allah? Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks the messengers, comma, inverted commas, what was the response you received? Or you can say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked the messengers, what was the response they received instead of you received? What was the response they received? And they will say that they have no knowledge. Indeed, Allah is all knower of the unseen. Is that clear with everyone? Asma Abdullah Haika? You can write as the first person, or you can write as the second person. Yeah. So we do in the way a little bit of English inside this, how to write English language, so a little grammar and
Done.
okay. Let me check. Okay, I have two comments. Abdullah, Allah asked the messenger, Allah asked. No, no. Okay, Asma, you haven't commented yet. And let me check of the previous one. Three, yes, Abdullah, it is more likely that they will fear Allah and obey. Choose to object to the taken after these oaths. Okay. Um. Yes, Asma, your comment is left.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Okay. If you see, be warned of the day when Allah will assemble the messengers and say. So this question, this is in the future tense. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking about the day of judgment, Qiyamah, right? Allah will assemble the messengers and say, it's in the future tense, it hasn't happened yet, right? Then they will say is in present tense, what was the response you received? Like when you were in the earth, in the in this world, in this earth, what when and you preach the people, what was the response you received? And they will say, we have no knowledge, indeed it is you who is knower of the unseen. We have no knowledge. And I see that you've written this in past tense. What was the response you received? They will say, we have knowledge. Okay, this is Abdullah wrote correct. Indeed, it is you who is knower of the unseen. Yes, they will say. Okay, so that's good. And also, what was the response you received? Allah will say, and Allah asked the messengers. Okay, Haika, Allah asked the messengers. No, Allah will ask the messengers. Not asked. Asked means he has asked already. Okay, so Abdullah wrote it correct. They will say, because we're talking about the day of judgment. Allah will ask the messengers on the day of judgment. Okay? Yes. No. Will asked does not come with will. They will, Allah will ask, not asked. How, ed means past tense, right? And you're
I
talking
forgot
about,
to delete that.
yeah. Just make sure you do it properly before posting. And we're just trying to also make correct sentences as well. Okay, Asma, I haven't received yours yet. Mashallah, Haika sent for messenger till yet. Okay, yes. Make sure you follow the tense of the question as well. And there's a period. I know you know how to write period. I know that when we add ed is a past tense. I know you already know this. But when you send me the message, in a comment, write it properly. Make sure that it's the present tense, past tense, whether there's a period at the end, if there's uh if there's like Allah, it has to be capital. If you're using he for Allah, then he h has to be capital. So you already know the rules, but I want you to make sure when you're posting that there's no such mistakes. The capitalization, the period, the present tense, past tense, everything should be proper. The comma, inverted commas, if it's a statement. Okay? So even though you do know, but
I'm
you have to
done.
make sure. Asma, you're done? Okay. Allah will ask the messengers and ask them what. Yeah, you
Whoops,
said
sorry
wrote
about
it
that.
twice. Yeah, you wrote twice. Okay. Allah will ask his messengers, what response did you receive? Okay, after that, you know how to, there's a question, you put a question mark. Yeah, okay. I think Abdullah forgot that too. What response he received? Abdullah, what was the response you received? It's the question. Question means that I know that you already know that you're supposed to put a question mark after when there's a question, but sometimes you forget, and we're also focusing on writing it correctly. Okay? So
Okay, now
here,
I'm done.
yeah, okay. So, the question, what was the response you received? So, a question mark has to come because it's the question, right? So, Abdullah, you have to correct that too. Okay. What was the response you received? And question mark because it's a question. Okay. Allah will ask his messengers because that will be in the day of Qiyamah, right? So, when you are saying will, it's in the future tense. What response did you receive? And did you receive or did you have you received? Okay. And the messengers will say, we have no knowledge indeed. It is you who knows of the unseen. Okay. Yes, very good. You, the Y has to be capital. Why? Because the Y in you is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And whenever it's for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if it's He, the H has to be capital. If it's Y, then the Y has to be capital. So we already know that, but you just make sure there's no mistake. Okay, Abdullah, please put a question mark after the question. What was the request you received? And let me see, Haika, Allah will ask the messenger, what was the response they received? Okay. They will say they have no knowledge. Very good. Okay. Very okay. Abdullah, you again forgot to. No. No, the question mark is after what was the response you received. That's where you have to put the question mark. Look, you have to put a question mark where the question is what was the response you received? The question. But when they say, indeed, you know you are the all knower, then there's no question mark because it's a statement. Okay? This is the question. What was the response you received? Above, Abdullah, please correct it. Okay. What was the response you received? Very good. They will say, we have no knowledge. Indeed, it is you who is knower of the unseen. Very good. So please delete the previous ones. Okay, Abdullah and Haika, was yours correct? I think yes, very good. Okay, Abdullah and Asma, delete the previous ones.
I already did delete the previous ones.
Okay, I have to log in back on again. Okay, it's showing me. Uh, yes, Abdullah, you can delete your previous one as well. It's supposed to be showing 3 to me. It's showing me 4. So delete the one that doesn't have a question mark or has the wrong question mark. Okay, let me check again. Maybe refresh. Abdullah, can you please delete your previous one? Because when I am repeating the next day, I don't want, the wrong ones to be there. Okay, good job. All right. So what was this? What was okay? We will say we have no knowledge, and indeed it is you who know. Okay, Allah will ask them His messengers, what response did you receive? And the messenger will say, we have no knowledge. Indeed, it's you who knows of the unseen. Very good. Okay, so we're done over here. You can share the screen. I'm going to stop sharing. All of you can share the screen and start iExcel, inshallah. Okay. Okay, Asma and Haika, I don't see your screen to be shared.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Asma and Haika, both of your screens are not shared.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Walaikum salam.
Okay. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. I think so today we will read history. History inshallah. Last time we read the history of Mongols. Mongol. What is this? Science. Science, science, science. Science. Where is history? Early history of the periodic table. History. Astronomy. Okay, we will read the history of chemistry. We are going to read the history of chemistry. Okay, this is a quiz. I don't know. Okay, Asma, can you do it?
Oh, what?
What's the answer?
History of chemistry. We didn't even read this yet.
Yeah, try to do it.
The study of which type of material led most directly to the development of electrochemistry? What?
Yeah, read it.
Batteries?
Read it.
Yeah, I'm doing it. Which statement best explains how the goals of chemistry changed throughout history? Chemistry began with practical questions that eventually focused on understanding the world. Chemistry is always focused on even blend of practical and theoretical questions about the world. And the chemistry began with theoretical questions about the world and eventually focused on practical application. Which of the following was not a practical use of chemistry developed by early chemists, 17th or 19th century? Aesthetics. Or microscope. I don't think microscopes were invented in the 19th century. The study of which type of material led most directly to the development of atomic theory. Atomic theory? I think that's gases. The study of gas behavior helped establish early chemists as a legitimate field of science. Yeah? I think that's false. Or no, that's true. Okay. The primary goal of the earliest chemists was to gain an understanding of how the world works. No, that's false. Which of the following was not a practical use of chemistry developed by chemists? Atomic theory, synthetic resin, dynamite, plastic. Practical dynamite. Wait, no, but there was war. Synthetic resin. Spelled the first one. Was it dynamite? Not for practical use of chemistry developed by chemists. I don't think it was dynamite. Was it? I don't. Wait, plastic wasn't really. Oh, plastic. Okay. You have 3 questions remaining in this concept. What? No, what new combined branch of study was developed from the study of matter within living organisms? Living systems? Within living systems? Biology? Wait, no, we're talking about chemistry. The new branch. Is it biology? No. What new combined study was developed from the study of matter within living systems? Like atomic. Early chemists focused on answering practical questions. The study of microorganisms helped establish chemistry as a legitimate field of science to understand the physical world. I think that's true. Never mind. This is story score 60%. I got 6 of 10 right. That means ma 6 60%. It's not bad for the jobs.
Okay. Okay, Haika. Now it's your turn.
Yes.
Can you do it? No, no. You did 10. There are more.
Yeah, I know.
Start practicing. We can sign.
You have to sign
कि
up
मुल्क
for
की सलामती को नुकसान पहुंचाएगा।
Okay.
अच्छा, अब घड़ी पे 14 साल है, मुल्क की सलामती पे 10 साल है।
Over 40? Here's why learning AI could be your best career move yet. Disappear for 1 month. Second,
Okay, you can read now. Haika, you can read from here right now.
Okay. A chemist focused on practical questions how to dyes and perfume, soap, manufacture, use of metals and glass productions, among others. The goal was to understand the physical world that came later. People just wanted to make things that would improve their lives in some way. The history of chemistry is an interesting and challenging one. Very early chemistries were often motivated mainly by the achievements of specific goal or product. Making perfume or soap did not need a lot of theory, just a good recipe and careful attention to details. There are no standard way of naming materials. It is often difficult to figure out exactly what a particular person was using. However, the science developed over the centuries. Major progress was made in putting chemistry on a solid foundation when Robert
Okay. Okay, Haika. Haika, are you here?
Yes,
Okay, read it.
I
The
wasn't done
field
reading
of
the previous one.
okay, sorry. Okay.
When Robert
Read it properly. Okay.
Boyle began his research in chemistry, he developed the basic ideas for the behavior of gases. We could then describe gases mathematically. Boyle also helped develop the idea that small particles could combine from molecules. Many years later, John Dalton used these ideas to develop the atomic theory. The field of chemistry began to develop rapidly in 1700s. Joseph Priestley isolated and characterized several gases: oxygen,
Precisely.
carbon monoxide, and nitrous oxide. It was later discovered that nitrous oxide worked as an anesthetic. This gas was used for the purpose for the first time in 1844 during a tooth extraction. Other gases discovered during the time while chlorine by C.W. Skeel and antigen by Antony
Nitrogen, it is not. Nitrogen. And
Lavoisier.
nitrogen by Antony Lavoisier.
Lavoisier has been considered by many scholars to be the father of chemistry. He's continued to discover new compounds in 1800s. The science also began to develop a more theoretical foundation. John Dalton put forth his atomic theory in 1807. This idea allowed scientists to think about chemistry in much more thematic way. Amadeo Avogadro laid the groundwork for a more quantitative approach to chemistry by calculating the numbers of particles in a given amount of gas. A lot of effort was put forth in studying chemical reactions. These efforts led to new materials being produced. Following the invention of the battery by Alessandro Volta, the field of electrochemistry developed through major contributions by Humphrey Davy and Michelle Faraday. Other areas of the discipline also progressed rapidly.
Okay, Abdullah, can you read it? Abdullah, are you here?
Yes.
Can you read it?
Okay, it would be a large book to cover developments in chemistry during the 12th century and up to today. One major area of expansion was in the area of the chemistry of living compounds. Research in the topic of physicists in class with the discovery of the civilization of the enzymes as biology that carries and replicated associated with the biological such as DNA. These first were given to the discussion of information in the field of biology.
Okay, okay, can you read? Biomolecules such as insulin and DNA. These efforts gave rise to an explosion of information in the field of biochemistry. The practical aspect of chemistry were not ignored. The work of Dalta, Davy, and Faraday eventually led to the development of batteries that provided a source of electricity to power a number of devices. Asma, can you read? Asma, read it.
Okay. Charles Goodyear, 1800 through 1860, discovered the process of vulcanization, allowing a stable rubber product to be produced for the tires of all the vehicles we have today. Louis Pasteur, 1822 through 1895, pioneered the use of heat sterilization to eliminate unwanted microorganisms in wine and milk. Alfred Noble, 1833 through 1896, invented dynamite. After his death, this fortune he made from his product was used to fund the Nobel Prizes in science and the humanities. J.W. Hyatt, 1837 through 1920, had developed the first plastic. Leo Baekeland, 1863 through 1944, developed the first synthetic resin widely used for inexpensive and sturdy dinnerware. Huh?
Okay, read it further.
No, that's a summary. Many civilizations contributed to the growth of chemistry. A lot of early chemical research focused on practical uses. Basic chemistry theories were developed during the 19th century, and new materials and batteries are a few of the products of modern chemistry. And now it's review.
Yeah, Aika, can you read review?
Who invented the first battery?
Hi,
Questions. It's like questions.
Aika, can you read this review? Who invented the first battery? Yes, who invented the first battery? Asma, can you tell me?
The first battery was station dynamite.
No. is
It's not
above
there.
somewhere
Oh.
over here.
Wait, Mom, wait. Oh, the work of Volta, Davy, and Faraday.
Faraday and for Davy.
Mama, it's Volta, Davy, and Faraday.
More Davy. It's not there. Okay. What contribution to chemistry did Robert Boyle make? Yes, what did Robert Boyle made?
Mm.
I think the steam engine.
Um,
The steam engine.
Robert.
It's above, not
Wait,
here. It's not
it is.
here.
Let me see. Neil Bakeland.
Above. It's not here.
Charles Goody. Robert. Robert. Oh, I think I messed up. History of chemistry. Oh, Robert Boyle began his research in chemistry. He developed a basic idea for the behavior of gases and also helped develop the idea that small particles could combine to form molecules. So
Okay.
what? Who
Who
invented
invented
dynamite?
dynamite?
I saw it. I know where that one is. Yeah, Alfred Nobel.
Or
Um, so what was the first synthetic resin used for? I think it was soap. I think they said something about inexpensive and sturdy dinnerware. Yeah, that's it.
okay. What was the first synthetic resin used for?
Inexpensive and sturdy silver dinnerware.
Pioneer in chemistry. Okay. Pioneers in chemistry. Boyle, probably. Robert Boyle. Definitely Dalton. John Dalton. Faraday. Louis Pasteur. Picou. Picou. August Picou. Mendeleev. Mendeleev. Dmitri Mendeleev. Born by Gillard Gibbs. Born man. Churchill. G. Churchill, yes. Henry Fisher. Asma, can you come here? Ariel. Curie. Madame Curie. Marie Curie. Marie Curie was oh, wow, okay. Rutherford. Rutherford.
Ernest Rutherford. Louis Gilbert.
Okay. Croden.
Definitely.
Croden. Mulligan. Mulligan. Robert S. Mulligan. Heisenberg. Werner Heisenberg. Pauling. Linus Pauling. Woodward.
Woodward Robert.
Yeah. Correct. Elias James Corey.
Oh.
So these are some of the scientists
First
from
chemist.
the history.
First
First chemists. First chemists. Yes.
Very
How did Louis Pasteur disprove spontaneous generations? Okay, Asma, can you read it?
How did Louis Pasteur disapprove spontaneous generation? Louis Pasteur provided evidence to disprove spontaneous generation through his famous experiment using swan-necked flasks. He filled these flasks with a nutrient-rich broth and heated them to kill any existing microorganisms. The swan-necked design allowed air to enter the flask but prevented dust and other particles which could carry microorganisms from entering. Over time, no new microorganisms grew in the broth, demonstrating that life did not spontaneously generate from non-living matter. When the necks of the flasks were broken, exposing the broth to dust and particles, microorganisms began to grow, proving that they came from the environment and not through spontaneous generation. How did Robert Boyle discover Boyle's law? Now, Robert Boyle discovered Boyle's law through a series of experiments. He used a J-shaped tube partially filled with mercury. By adding more mercury, he increased the pressure on a fixed quantity of trapped gas. He observed that the volume of gas decreased as the pressure increased, and vice versa. From these observations, he formulated Boyle's law, which states that the pressure and volume of a gas have an inverse relationship when temperature is held constant. How did Joseph Priestley discover oxygen? In the late 1770s, minister and natural philosopher Joseph Priestley burned a candle in a jar of air and observed that the candle burned out long before it ran out of wax. A similar experiment with a moose resulted in the moose's death. Priestley suggested that animals, like candles, injure the air, adding a mint plant, as shown in the figure below. However, restored the air which had been injured by the moose or the candle. Only later did many chemistry experiments did Priestley publish his discovery of dephlogisticated air. But in his studies of mice, plants, and candles, he had shown that plants produce and animals consume oxygen gas. What did James Chadwick contribute to the atomic theory? James Chadwick is best known for his discovery of the neutron in 1932. This discovery added a new fundamental particle to the atomic model and helped explain why models have mass but are electrically neutral. His work also paved the way for the developments of nuclear energy and weapons. Now, what did Robert Boyle believe about atoms? Robert Boyle is often considered the father of modern chemistry. He proposed that matter was composed of tiny indivisible particles, which he called corpuscles, yeah, but are now known as atoms. He believed these corpuscles could combine in different ways to form all substances. This was a significant step towards the modern atomic theory.
Okay.
We finished it. We finished.
All four?
Yeah, all five.
All five. Okay. So, Haika, what did you understand? Haika, you read it again, this one.
Okay.
Haika, can you read it again? Yes.
Louis Pasteur provided evidence to disprove spontaneous generation through his famous experiment using swan-neck flakes. He filled these flakes with a nutrient-rich broth and heated them to kill any existing Grimace, the swan-necked of design allowed air to enter the flax, but prevented dust and other particles which could carry microorganisms from entering. Over time, no new organism grew in the broth, demonstrating that life did not spontaneously generate from non-living matter. When the necks of the flax were broken, exposing the broth to dust and particles, magnesium began to grow, proving that they came from the environment and not through spontaneous generation.
Okay. Second, how did Robert Boyle discover Boyle law? Boyle's law. Yes, Haika. Haika, can you read it?
Okay. Robert Boyle discovered Boyle's law through a series of experiments. He used J-shaped tube particle filled with mercury. By adding more mercury, he increased the pressure on a fixed quantity of trapped gas. He observed that the volume of gas decreased as the pressure increased and vice versa. From these observations, he formulated Boyle's law, which states that the pressure and volume of a gas have an inverse relationship when temperature is held constant.
Okay. Wait. Okay. How did
Joseph Priestley.
Precisely
Priestley.
discover oxygen?
Matthew, speak.
Okay, Haika, can you read it?
Okay. In the late 1770s, Minister of Natural History Joseph Priestley burnt a candle in a jar of air and observed that the candle burned out long before it ran out of wax. A similar experiment with a mouse resulted in the mouse's death. Priestley suggested that animals like candles injure the air, adding a mint plant as shown in figure below. However, restored the air which has been injured by the mouse with the candle only later, after any chemistry experiments, did Priestley publish his discovery of phlogisted air, but in his studies of mice, plants, and candles, he had shown that plants produce and animals consume oxygen gas.
The final. Okay, Haika, can you read it? Haika, are you here?
Yes.
Okay, can you read it?
James Chadwick is best known for his discovery of the neutron in 1932. This discovery added a new fundamental particle to the atomic model and helped explain why atoms have mass but are electrically neutral. His work also paved the way for the development of nuclear energy and weapons.
Mhm, mhm. Okay. Cheers to it. Okay. So, can you read the last one? What did Robert Boyle believe about atoms? Yes.
Robert Boyle is often considered the father of modern chemistry. He proposed that matter was composed of tiny invisible particles which he called corpuscles, but are now known as the atoms. He believed that the corpuscles could combine in different ways to form all substance. This is a significant step towards the modern atomic theory.
Yeah. Okay. So this was your lesson. Okay, you still have 15 minutes left. What will you do in 15 minutes? Okay. Okay, I think so. We will leave early today. This was your lesson for today. Inshallah, we will see you tomorrow.
Early every day.
Inshallah, we'll see you tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Wa alaikum assalam.